The silence of her apartment was deafening, a stark contrast to the cacophony of voices that echoed in her mind, each a cruel reminder of her isolation. Friends, once close, had drifted away, their calls and texts dwindling to silence. Family, she felt, had long since given up, their concern replaced by a weary resignation. She was adrift, a lone ship tossed on a stormy sea of depression. Yet, amidst the tempest, a single, unwavering light flickered. Her faith in Yahweh. It wasn't a bright, blazing sun, but a small, persistent flame warming her in the darkness. Days bled into nights, marked only by the rhythmic tick-tock of the grandfather clock in the hallway, a relentless counter of her solitude. Food sat untouched. Sleep offered no solace, only a brief respite before the relentless cycle of despair began anew. Doubt gnawed at her. Was her faith misplaced? Was she truly alone? These questions clawed at her, threatening to extinguish that tiny flame. But in her darkest moments, a whispered prayer, barely audible, would escape her lips. A simple plea for strength, for guidance, for a sign that she wasn't forgotten. One morning, sunlight, unusually bright, streamed through her window. It wasn't a miracle, but it felt like one. She sat up, the movement aching, but the light felt warm on her skin. A small, almost imperceptible shift occurred within her. She decided to take a shower, a simple act that had become an insurmountable task. The warm water washing over her felt like a cleansing ritual, a shedding of the heavy weight of despair. The next day, she forced herself to leave her apartment. It was a monumental effort, each step a victory against the inertia of her depression. She walked to the park, the fresh air filling her lungs, a stark contrast to the stale air of her apartment. She saw children playing, their laughter a distant echo of a life she once knew. She didn't join them, but their simple joy touched something within her. The healing was slow, painstakingly gradual. There were days when the darkness threatened to engulf her again, but each time, the memory of the sunlight, the warmth of the shower, the sound of children's laughter strengthened her resolve. She started small, attending a church service, a daunting step but one she managed. She began writing in a journal, pouring out her feelings, her doubts, her prayers. The act of writing, of expressing herself, helped to unravel the knots of her despair. It wasn't a sudden transformation, but a slow, steady climb out of the abyss. Alara's journey was far from over, but she was no longer adrift. She had found an anchor in her faith, a guide in her prayers, and a path, however faint, towards healing.